Animals and humans don't mix solely because of how much pollution we've caused over the past few decades. Because of us, many of them have suffered and have gotten stuck in our trash. Especially this one elk that got stuck in a tire for 2 whole years. Stick around to the end to see this elk's story and many other times animals got stuck in human contraptions. Let's get started. Deer gets caught between fence. When this deer got stuck between the fence, it must have thought it was the end of it. Luckily, a passerby spotted it and helped it to safety and removed it out of the fence. You could tell it was in grave pain from the way it sounded. Sorry, pal. Baby moose gets caught in a gate. Perhaps one of the most amusing stories of an animal getting stuck is this baby moose getting only its front hooves stuck in the fence. The homeowner was so surprised to see the baby animal in such a peculiar situation, so much so that they had to bring out their cameras to film the whole thing. It was a hilarious sight with just its hooves sticking out the other side. It probably tried to jump over the fence but didn't have the height to do so and ended up like this. Unlike most other animals, when it got its hooves out of the fence, it didn't run away. In fact, it stood there chewing on nothing for several minutes. Giraffe stuck in swimming pool. This situation seems like one of those word problems for math textbooks because it just doesn't seem possible. This giraffe doesn't seem to even be stuck here. It's roaming around in the swimming pool, right? Well, apparently giraffes can't descend but only ascend, which is where the problem starts. After Lucy got stuck, the caretakers had to empty the pool and deconstruct it for her to climb out. It took the rescue workers many hours to get her out, and she didn't even thank them. Monkey head stuck. Monkeys are eerily like us, so when this small guy got its head stuck in a pumpkin, it didn't come off as a surprise. But the more important part is how the monkey's dog friend tried to get him out and even tried to bite the pumpkin off. Donkey is rescued from empty SOAKAWAY drainage. Donkeys can sometimes be silly and very dumb. Take Christopher Robin's donkey as an example. While most animals would try to escape or yelp for help, this donkey stays put, content with its current predicament. Thankfully, there were people around that valued animal life and brought it out of the empty drainage. Baby elephant saved from drowning. Here we see some men in the middle of a river trying to save a baby elephant from drowning. We don't know how the calf got there, but we know those who saved it are brave and compassionate. They had to even battle the strong currents of the river to bring it ashore. Dog saved from frozen lake. Thanks to the timely response of this rescue team, this dog was saved from drowning and freezing out in a lake. Way to go, guys! Skunk gets cup stuck on head. One of the hardest of being a soft person at heart is being ready to face anything. This Peel Regional Police officer noticed a skunk with its head stuck in a cup. They could have let the skunk go like that, but that wasn't a safe option for the skunk or even an ethical decision. The officer's hesitation to decide to walk over to the animal, which could stink up the place in a matter of a few seconds. He swiftly took off the cup and ran away to avoid any sort of smelly situation. Even the poor skunk runs away in a panic. Cheetah gets head stuck in the metal pot. Summer is especially hard for the countries in the subcontinent, including animals. A male leopard was looking to cool down by drinking some water from a metal pot, but it misjudged the size of the pot and got its head stuck in it for a whole 5 hours. The leopard kept wandering around the village, all confused and frightened. The residents, who did not know what to do, just took pictures and videos of this rare but silly incident. When the wildlife officials reached, then that's when things got serious. They had to tranquilize the leopard and use a saw to cut the pot open. If it hadn't been for the tranquilizer, the leopard would have been stuck in there for a long time. Raccoon babies stuck in the wall. Raccoons are the craziest little creatures because not only have they found the way around the urban lifestyle, but they've mastered it too. One of their weird little habits is finding crevices and holes that no one else can access, which makes the inside of the walls the perfect place for them to keep their babies. In fact, this is a much more common occurrence than you think. The problem with this is that they always get stuck inside the walls. A man found sounds emerging from inside his walls and decided to call the Urban Wildlife Control. After examining the place for a while, the wildlife expert found several scared little raccoon babies. Well, at least now they can enjoy the wonders of the dumpster now. Bear found in the pit. Bears are pretty big, ranging up to 4 to 5 feet when they're standing upright. You would think this would make them hard to get stuck in little places, but nope. At a construction site in Turkey, a few laborers were digging up the place when they found a brown bear stuck in a hole. The most surprising part is how the bear survived under all that concrete. Luckily, they were able to break up the opening enough for the distressed bear to get out. The animal showed such frantic signs of panic that it was hard to even watch it struggle. It must have been stuck in there for days, even weeks perhaps. Usually bears like to hibernate in warm places, so that could explain how it got there. Owl stuck in fishing line. It's always saddening to see helpless little animals panic when they're stuck, and whenever they're approached by humans, their first reaction is to scream like a siren. A man was fishing in the woods when he heard a cute little cry for help. When he followed the voice, he found out that an owl was stuck in a fishing line, swinging like a pendulum. The closer the man got to him, the louder the owl would scream. The fishing line had got so tangled up on the owl's wing that the man had to use a nail cutter to release the animal. After he grabbed the bird gently, it calmed down a bit as it started to realize that the man was just trying to help. After much work, it flew away happily. Raccoons stuck in an army tank. Raccoons always manage to get themselves stuck in the stupidest places. Some army officers found this guy stuck upside down in the entering hole of an army tank. One of the soldiers tried to get the fat little guy out with all his strength, but failed. But when he called over his friends, he was able to get him out. He also accidentally threw the raccoon across the field, but that's all in a good day's work. Who knew being in the army could be so fun? Elephant mother rescues baby by herself. Elephants are some of the most emotionally intelligent beings in the animal kingdom. A deer or an impala might leave its calf behind in times of sudden danger, but an elephant would never give up on its calves. And here's a prime example of that. A baby elephant had gotten stuck upside in a water hole and couldn't get out after a lot of trying. When the animal herd realized how severely stuck the baby was, they all came to help. It wasn't just that it was stuck, it was slowly suffocating as the watering hole was filled to the top. The mother desperately tried to scoop the water away with her trunk, but obviously that didn't work out too well. After many unsuccessful attempts, the rest of the herd gave up. Still, the mother kept at it until she finally managed to flip the calf over. As soon as she did, the others rushed to her aid. Have you ever seen such a beautiful sight? Moose stuck in a swing set. Seems like the bigger the animal gets, the stupider they get. This fully grown moose somehow managed to get its huge antlers stuck in a kid's swing set. All its attempts to break free just got it more tangled up with the chains. Luckily, a sergeant came to its rescue. Even though the moose was scared and frustrated in the beginning, it decided to trust the man. This one animal was especially impatient because it kept trying to run and leave the swing behind. Funny enough, this only made the process longer. Sheep stuck in a rope swing. Now here's something to look at if you were searching for a good laugh. This sheep managed to go and get stuck in the only rope swing that was present in its herding area. The rest of the herd just watched the silly animal struggle for several minutes. Every time the sheep would try to get out, it would end up swinging back and forth in the air. Imagine how confusing they must be for a dim-witted sheep. Some people raised questions about the person who was filming to be irresponsible as it didn't immediately help the sheep, but the sheep wasn't in any sort of pain. Panda baby got its head stuck in the floor. Pandas are more about decorative purposes than they are for any other thing. These animals are so silly that they seem almost cartoonish. Almost all of their popularity is in captivity, and they love that luxurious lifestyle too. While playing, one of these panda babies slipped and got its big ol' head stuck in the wooden floor. Lion gets head stuck in a barrel. Lions are smart creatures. They shouldn't be so baffled by simple objects such as barrels. But unfortunately, this one wasn't the brightest of the bunch. During mealtime, all three lions were busy eating from a feeding barrel. However, one of them got so passionate about eating that it got its head stuck deep inside. Its friends tried to help, but they were of no use. It ran around with the barrel over its head for hours until the vet stopped by and fixed it all. Pelican's beak gets stuck. Pelicans are practically what we have left of dinosaur genes. Even though that can help them navigate their way through modern life, during a regular day in Florida, this pelican got its beak stuck in the railing of a yacht, and when someone came to help, it said nope and flew away as if nothing happened. Deer gets stuck in playhouse. Deers like to roam the forest a lot, and when these forests have humans living in them, it makes for some amazing interactions. This deer, for example, had no idea what this playhouse slide was, but decided to go right into it, immediately getting stuck. Thankfully, it didn't get jammed in there too bad. Dolphin gets stuck on the boat. For curious creatures like dolphins, it's not uncommon for them to pass by where humans are to say hello. This one got way too excited and accidentally jumped into the boat, and then it started flopping around after it realized that it had gotten stuck in there. Another boat had to stop by to help the dolphin get out of there, but eventually it went back into the water. Frisbee stuck in seal's neck. Animals that live among bigger populations of humans are somewhat luckier in the sense that humans usually help them out whenever they're in trouble. However, sea animals that spend time in the ocean are the real victims. This seal right here had a child's frisbee stuck around its neck for years. The frisbee started to cut into its neck and had to be taken to a wildlife center so he could recover. The wound was quite deep, and the staff said that it was on the brink of dying. Finally, she got to go back home after years of care. Tire stuck in giraffe's neck. Giraffes usually stay out of trash since their main food source is trees and such. However, a few welfare officials in Kenya rescued a giraffe that apparently wore a tire like a necklace. The officials had to track down poor Susie and sedate her before they could remove her questionable choice of accessories. After a whole afternoon of tending after her, the officials found a few scratches on her, but other than that, she was fine. Kangaroo gets head stuck in chips. Australia is a pretty wild place, an even better tourist attraction. Not because of all the animals you get to see, but all the little turmoil animals have to go through. Like this one guy stuck in a bag of chips, hopping around until he hits a car. Ouch! Thanks to the guy recording, the kangaroo can see again. Whenever there is human trash, these things are bound to happen. Deer gets stuck twice. Humans are pretty soft at heart and will readily help animals whenever they can. On her morning runs in the Stone Mountain Park, a woman found a small deer stuck in the fence. As soon as she saw that, she helped free the poor guy and then jumped over the fence herself too. But the story doesn't end there. A few moments pass by and she finds the same deer getting stuck in another fence right in front of her eyes. The woman definitely had a special way with animals, with the way she just knew what to do. In Colorado, a bulk elk had a 600-pound weight on him for about 2 years. This extra weight is actually a huge tire that had been stuck on its neck for the longest time. The wildlife officers had been trying to get a hold of the animal, but he would keep disappearing. Finally, the officers tried to cut the tire out without hurting him. Still, unfortunately, they had to cut the elk's antlers off to get rid of the pesky tire. Elk shed their antlers annually anyway, so it all worked out in the end. Dog gets head stuck between a gate. Dogs can be pretty mischievous creatures at times, because how else would you explain this dog getting its head stuck between a gate? Even after getting in such a situation, it couldn't stay until the guys from Animal Control came to its rescue. The overly excited dog ran off, never to come close to another gate again. Dog wears container hat. Still on the trend of dogs getting their head stuck in funny places, this dog somehow managed to get its head stuck in a container. The dog doesn't really mind going around with its new hat since it can see, but the kind-hearted humans around stepped in to rid the dog of its container hat before it would die of suffocation. The dog looks back at those that helped it as though it wanted to show its appreciation. It definitely looked relieved. Duckling gets rescued from the sewer. This group of friends went as far as dipping their friend's head into the sewer to save 3 cute ducklings. Good thing everyone made it out unscathed. Sheriff rescues fawn. Being a sheriff is more than just about protecting the lives and property of your neighborhood. Sometimes you've got to get into pits to rescue fawns as well. This fawn, despite its serious case of trust issues, has the sheriff to thank for getting it out of a pit. Cat saved from pole. First question, how did that cat get stuck in the pole in the first place? Cats can be pesky critters at times, and this is a clear example of how much trouble they can get themselves into. It took a joint effort from the fire service, police, and some engineers to rescue the cat from the pole. They had to cut the pole while ensuring it didn't get too hot for the cat by pouring water on the pole. Such thoughtful men. Then came the critical part, safely removing the cat from the pole. The men had to gently guide its head through the pole. The cat got out and must have thanked the men as it ran. Rhino gets head stuck in a bucket. Rhinos are one of the most aggressive animals to exist in the wild. Often, quabit is very different. This clumsy rhino found himself stuck in a bucket in his own home. Not just that, he walked around blindly with the bucket on his head. For a long time, he refused to take it off too, pretending that the bucket wasn't bothering him, even though he could barely walk. After walking around his pen, he finally shook off the bucket. This might not be the worst case of animals getting stuck in things, but it's definitely one that's adorable. Fetch gone wrong. After what must have been a game of fetch gone wrong, this dog was stuck in an underground pipe until its owner shoveled a way out for it. It seemed so glad to see them again. Heavily woolly sheep saved. Sheep are actually heavier than they look, especially those that have not been sheared. So you'll get why this man was so quick to get into the pond and try to lift the sheep out with any backup. He quickly realized it wasn't as easy as he had imagined, but he still managed to get it out. Alright, comment down below which of these animal stories you found the most amusing. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Forever Green and hit that bell icon for more. We'll see you in the next one.